The tale of the wise merchant and the unseen harmony of the universe. In a faraway kingdom, there lived a wise and humble merchant named Harsha. Harsha was not a wealthy man, but he was content with his simple life. He understood the value of knowledge, hard work, and compassion. Despite his modest means, Harsha was highly respected for his wisdom, which was sought after by people from all walks of life. One day, as Harsha was walking through the bustling market, he overheard a conversation between two of his fellow merchants. The first merchant, Suman, was speaking with frustration. "It is unfair. Why is it that gold, the most precious of all metals, does not come with the sweet fragrance of perfume? Why can't the sugarcane, which is so sweet, also bear fruit year-round? Why does the sandalwood tree, which gives us such a pleasant aroma, not bear the same fruits as the apple tree? Why does wealth always elude the learned, and long life slip away from those in power?" The second merchant, Raghav, was listening thoughtfully and replied, "Yes, you are right, Suman. Why should these things be so? If only they were balanced properly, we would live in a much more harmonious world." Harsha, who had been silently listening to the conversation, could not help but smile. He approached the two merchants and said, "Ah, my friends, you speak of imbalance, but what you fail to see is that each thing in life has its own purpose and its own place. The world is governed by a harmony that we cannot always comprehend." Suman, intrigued by Harsha's words, asked, "What do you mean by that? How can we say there is harmony when things are not as we would want them?" Harsha thought for a moment before speaking. "Let me tell you a story, one that might help you understand." The two merchants eagerly gathered around as Harsha began his tale. In the beginning of time, when the universe was being formed, Lord Brahma, the creator of all, decided to bestow upon each element of nature its unique qualities. Brahma, with great wisdom, considered the needs of every being and object he created. He thought carefully about the balance that must exist to maintain harmony in the world. One day, as Brahma was completing his work, a thought occurred to him. Perhaps, he mused, gold, the most precious of metals, deserves to bear a sweet fragrance, like that of a beautiful flower. Perhaps sugarcane, with its sweetness, should bear fruit at all times, to satisfy the hunger of mankind. Sandalwood, known for its scent, should give fruits that could be used to heal the sick. The learned should be blessed with material wealth, and kings should be granted long life, so that they can rule their kingdoms in peace. But as Brahma pondered these thoughts, his wisdom led him to a profound realization. If I do this, he thought, then the balance of nature would be disrupted. If gold was sweet-smelling, people would be distracted by its perfume, not its true value. If the sugarcane bore fruit year-round, its sweetness would lose its significance. If sandalwood gave fruits, it would no longer be prized for its aromatic qualities. If wealth were to come to the learned, it would detract from their pursuit of knowledge, and the quest for wisdom would no longer be held in the same esteem. If kings were granted long life, they might lose their sense of urgency and become complacent in their duties. Each quality has a purpose, and each element must fulfill its own role to maintain the order of the universe. And so, Brahma decided against altering the natural laws. He gave gold its value, not its fragrance. He allowed the sugarcane to bear fruit only seasonally, to preserve its sweetness. He made sandalwood a tree of fragrance, not a fruit-bearing plant. He did not give wealth to the learned, for their minds must remain focused on wisdom, not material gain. He did not grant long life to kings, for their reign must have a sense of purpose and responsibility. Harsha paused, allowing the story to sink in. "You see," he said, "the world is a place of balance. Each thing is given its own role and qualities, and it is through this natural order that true harmony exists. We may not always understand why things are the way they are, but there is a wisdom to it that goes beyond our limited perceptions. The perfume of gold, the fruit of the sugarcane, the wealth of the learned, and the long life of the king are not to be, for to bestow them would disturb the delicate balance that governs the universe." The two merchants, Suman and Raghav, were silent for a long time as they reflected on Harsha's words. They realized that their desire for change was born from their own limited understanding, and that the world, in its natural state, was already perfectly balanced. Suman turned to Harsha and said, "I see now, my friend. It is not for us to question the way things are, but to accept and understand the wisdom behind the balance of nature. Thank you for your insight." Raghav nodded in agreement, and the three men shared a quiet moment of understanding. And so, the lesson of Brahma's wisdom was passed on through generations, reminding all who heard it that the universe, in its infinite complexity, functions best when everything remains in its rightful place. This story illustrates the idea that, as stated in Chanakya Niti, there is a natural wisdom behind the way things are arranged in the world, and attempting to alter the inherent balance can lead to unintended consequences. Each element of life has its own purpose, and it is this balance that creates true harmony in the universe. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more valuable content like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.